February 1st. Mark it on your calendar. Circle it in red. That is the date the United States moves from a federalist republic to a centralized system of extortion. We are not talking about policy adjustments. We are not talking about a debate on immigration reform. We are looking down the barrel of a weaponized executive branch threatening to starve its own citizens into submission. President Donald Trump, speaking from the Detroit Economic Club, a setting grimly ironic for an announcement designed to shatter state economies, has issued a decree. Starting February 1st, the federal government will cease payments to any state housing what he terms sanctuary cities. Note the escalation. In his first term, the target was the city, the mayor, the local police chief. Now, it is the state. It is the governor. It is the entire population of Rhode Island, Massachusetts, California, New York. If a single jurisdiction within your borders resists the president's deportation force, the entire state pays the price. When reporters pressed him for the mechanics of this financial siege, when they asked exactly which funds would be cut, would it be roads, schools, hospitals? His response was chilling in its vagueness. "You'll see," he said. "It'll be significant. You'll see." That is not the language of a president administering a budget. That is the language of a mob boss tightening the screws. It is a promise of pain without the courtesy of specifics, designed to induce panic before the first dollar is even withheld. Let's strip away the noise and look at the forensic reality of what is happening here. This is not an isolated outburst. This is the culmination of a weeks-long systematic assault on the sovereignty of the states. We have been tracking the tremors before this earthquake. Look at Minnesota. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is currently threatening to withhold $515 million every 3 months from the state's Medicaid programs. They call it fraud prevention. But when you strip $500 million from a state's healthcare budget, you are not fighting fraud. You are fighting the sick, the elderly, and the poor to punish the political leadership. Look at the Department of Agriculture now threatening states over SNAP data, food stamps. Look at Health and Human Services halting daycare subsidies in Democratic-led states. Do you see the pattern? Food, healthcare, childcare. These are not discretionary funds for luxury projects. These are the biological necessities of the American people, and they are being transformed into leverage. The administration is essentially saying, comply with our enforcement demands or your children don't eat, your sick don't get care, and your roads don't get paved. We need to be very clear about the legal and constitutional precipice we are standing on. This is a direct violation of the anti-commandeering doctrine. The Supreme Court has held repeatedly that the federal government cannot force state officials to act as arms of federal law enforcement. They tried this in 2017. Federal courts struck it down. They tried to withhold grants then, and the judiciary said no. But this time, the strategy is different. The scale is different. By targeting the states in their entirety, the president is betting on the sheer magnitude of the chaos to force capitulation before the courts can even intervene. He knows the law is likely against him. Under South Dakota versus Dole and the ruling on the Affordable Care Act, the Supreme Court made it clear. The federal government cannot use spending powers to put a gun to the head of the states. Coercion is unconstitutional. But Donald Trump is not playing a legal game. He is playing a power game. He is calculating that the governor of Rhode Island, the governor of Massachusetts, cannot afford to wait 6 months for a court injunction while their budgets implode. He is weaponizing the delay of the judicial system. He is banking on the fact that he can inflict so much immediate fiscal damage that the states will break before the law can save them. This is an attack on the fundamental contract of the Union. The states listed, California, New York, Massachusetts, Illinois, these are donor states. They contribute more in federal taxes than they receive in federal spending. They effectively subsidize the rest of the country. For the president to turn around and tell the economic engines of this nation that their own tax dollars will be stolen from them unless they violate their own local laws and conscience, that is not governance. That is theft. We are witnessing the weaponization of the federal purse strings to enforce a unitary executive will. If the president can unilaterally strip funding from a state because he dislikes their local law enforcement policies, there is no limit. What is next? Withholding highway funds because a state passes a climate law he dislikes? Withholding education funds because a state teaches history he opposes? February 1st is not just a deadline for sanctuary cities. It is a stress test for the Constitution. The administration is betting that the checks and balances are too slow, too weak, and too timid to stop a direct frontal assault on federalism. They are betting that they can starve you out before you can sue them. Do not be lulled into thinking this is just political theater. The list of targets is drawn. The dates are set. The machinery of the federal government is being retooled into a mechanism of punishment. If you think this stops at the border of a sanctuary city, you are not paying attention. This is about power, who has it, who gets to use it, and who gets crushed by it. The lights are blinking red. The warning signs are flashing. We are watching the dismantling of the guardrails in real time. Do not look away. Do not normalize this. If we lose the ability for states to dissent without facing economic annihilation, we have lost the republic. Stay vigilant. Watch the money. Because once it's gone, it's not coming back without a fight.